Namaste, yogis. Let's begin with a short practice. Sit comfortably. Adjust your seat so that the hips and legs can relax. Scan the senses, observing what you see. Let the eyes settle. Listen to the sounds that you can hear from far away. And slowly move awareness closer and closer to your body. Let the eyes and ears go soft. Notice any tastes in the mouth. Any aromas that you can smell. The sensation of the seat beneath you, the clothes on the skin, the breath over the top lip. With the next inhaled breath, close the eyes and follow the awareness with the breath in through the nose, down the throat, and into the chest. Be with the breath now. Observe the natural cycle of inhalation, the smooth wave of the exhalation. Slow down the exhalation. And allow each breath to flow smoothly, unimpeded into the next. Focus on slowing down the exhalation. Soften the corners of the eyes into a relaxation in the jaw. Surrender the neck into the shoulders and let the arms hang heavy. Each vertebra stacking effortlessly atop the one beneath. A softness in the belly as the breath continues smoothly. A heaviness in the hips and legs. Awareness of breath. Notice the vulnerability with which the body surrenders. finding a strength and courage in that surrendering. Notice all the small details as first the body lets go, and then the mind. Stay with the breath. Gaze into the warm, dark space in front of the eyelids. Infinite space. Don't strain the eyes. Stay soft. Buddha eyes as you look at Chitakasha, the space inside the mind. Be there for a little while. And as thoughts come and go, allow them to pass by like clouds as you remain in the infinite black sky. And just as that infinite black space is unaffected by the movements as big as planets, so the mind rests, still and silent. Notice the gentle breath, the physical body, the room that you are in, your hands, your heart. And bring the palms together in Anjali Mudra. Let's open with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Namaste. So, here we'll take a look at the many benefits of practice. And if you have done this practice previously, then you know that there are many benefits, especially if you're able to get to this effortless state of being. Now, this is the primary purpose of Yoga Nidra, is to make contact with the unbounded awareness. This is the main purpose. It is to transcend the grosser layers of our being and connect with source consciousness. So at its core, it is a spiritual practice. And so everything else that we'll see as called benefits is basically a byproduct of making that connection. So of course, all of the benefits of relaxation and calming the brain states while staying conscious. Now, Swami Satyananda Saraswati talks about three tensions within the body. And here's a quote from him. He says, "If we wish to create a more peaceful world, we must first learn how to relax and harmonize our own body and mind." And how profound, because many Westerners flock to yoga because of that yoga high that they get when they stand up out of Shavasana. And so much of what we do as teachers, as healers, as guides, is teach people how to relax. So he outlines these three tensions, these three places where tension can congregate. And the first one is, of course, the physical body, muscular tension. And we've seen through scientific research that the physical body begins to heal when we spend more time in the parasympathetic nervous system. And so remember, the heart rate variability breathing technique that we began with is to train ourselves to get into the parasympathetic nervous system faster and more efficiently as we go on with our practice. So remember to continue timing yourself as to when you experience those symptoms that the parasympathetic nervous system has now come online. So the first tension is muscular. The second we're looking at is emotional tension. So this is tension in the chitta, in the mind field. This is when we experience that mental turmoil. So it can be, in the form of unhappiness, where there's this slavery of mind, where we become so engrossed with those thoughts and indecisiveness that it causes this very emotional sort of pain within ourselves. And the third he talks about is mental tension. Okay, so to clarify, then, we have muscular tension, we have emotional tension that is coming from the mental tension. And so really, this is where I meant to talk about chitta, and the mental unhappiness and slavery of mind is happening with the mental tension. And because of that mental tension, it's being expressed through our emotions and eventually by our physical body. So when there are limiting thoughts or sort of programmed beliefs about the way that reality is, or about ourselves or others, it starts with a thought as a mental idea, which through the body begins to express itself with emotion. So sometimes, we may have a strong emotion, but not remember why we're having it or where it came from, when really it started as a thought, but we were not paying attention, we were not conscious, we were not aware of the thinking process. We were too wrapped up in it. That then there's this strong emotion that's manifesting, and if those thoughts, those emotions, go for a long time um, without being in check, or without the awareness, without the consciousness, without the attention given, then these tensions are then going to manifest in our physical body. So, of course, we know this from yoga. Change your thoughts, change your life. Okay. So here's a list of sort of the byproducts, right? And so, remember that we are every time when we practice yoga nidra, we're coming into this effortless state of being, and as a byproduct of that, here are some of the great benefits that the practice will give. So it lowers the metabolic rate. And so, because there's a reduction in the oxygen requirements of the body, and a reduced metabolic rate, there's less breakdown of activity at a cellular level. So essentially our cells can breathe more easily, and of course the cell is the building block for life. Lowered heart rate. So yoga nidra will dramatically reduce the heart rate, and as well as the blood pressure. It slows the brain waves. So we see a slowing of the brain activity from a beta state to an alpha. The alpha brain activity is, of course, associated with relaxation, with peace, with well being. And the alpha brain state is sort of the gateway to our unconscious stored impressions. Okay, reduction of the sympathetic nervous system, which of course is our fight or flight response. And that is the one that's associated with stress and fear, and just overactivity of the body, all of the stress hormones that come as a result of that stress. Okay, lowering of blood lactate levels. Okay, high blood lactate levels is an indication of stress. And so here is another sort of byproduct of reducing stress. Okay. And so resilience is the ability to return back to a healthy, balanced state after a stressful experience. So sort of in our everyday life, when we experience trauma or stress, the amount of time that it takes us to sort of come back to homeostasis, that amount of time gets reduced through the practice of yoga nidra and the practice of the turning on that parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, so deep rest. And it's said that, of course, between 30 and 45-minute practice of yoga nidra is equivalent to 3 or 4 hours of deep, restful sleep. So it's relaxing the entire physio-psychological system within us. It helps, connecting with this unbounded awareness helps us to become more objective in our experience of reality rather than subjective. So, because we begin to calm the emotional and mental tension, we can look at life and arguments and discussions and situations from more of an objective state. Okay, harmonization of pranic flow. So we know about the nadis, and yoga nidra will help to balance this system of the ida and pingala, which of course, when those come into balance, that's when our Sushumna clears and allows for that Kundalini prana to travel up the spine, leading to the awakening, leading to the knowledge that Atman is Brahman. Okay, enhanced learning. So Yoga Nidra awakens a storehouse of information in the latent areas of the subconscious and unconscious mind, and it increases our ability to absorb and retain outside information. So a lot of professors and school teachers will implement Yoga Nidra before and after giving a lecture to help the information stay with the student. Okay. Healing. So, when the parasympathetic nervous system is online, this is the place where healing can really occur. So, when the parasympathetic nervous system is functioning, it'll restore and rebalance the body. So, when someone wants to heal, they often remain in a stressed out situation in the sympathetic nervous system. And the sympathetic nervous system does not allow for healing. It's not what it's programmed for. The sympathetic nervous system is programmed to keep us alive in the face of a threat, like a tiger coming to eat us. Okay, Yoga Nidra helps us to shift the system to repair and restore our experience of a parasympathetic state. So, again, what we practice with that heart rate variability is practicing coming into the parasympathetic nervous system, and that's what we're doing throughout the practice of Yoga Nidra. And finally, it develops the skill of conscious relaxation at will. So, what a powerful tool as we move throughout our days and lives to be able to consciously relax so that our emotions and that all of that mental unrest of those past stories, obsessive thinking, the worries, the concerns, the fears, um, when they come up, we sort of build this muscle, this skill, this ability to relax and again sink into a more objective experience of reality and live more efficiently and productively in our lives. All right, that's all for today's video. And in the next class, we'll talk about the brain waves and how we travel through them in Yoga Nidra. So let's close with the sound of Om. Bring hands to heart, close the eyes. Take a nice deep breath in. Namaste.